episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 7, Episode 9?
Or Episode 151 if you're counting?
I'm pretty sure we counted right?
Okay, we counted right.
We counted right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you as always to the Patreon contributors
Yes.
at Patreon. You spoke over me. I got tongue-tied. Patreon.com/MarsGirl.
There you go, you got it.
Who make this show and all kinds of other stuff that I get to do happen all the time. So thank
Yes.
you so much for that. If you remember last week, I updated the Patreon rewards. So even if you are contributing at just $1 level, you're going to get a shout out. So you get some little reward at the very least for even one singular dollar. And you can cap that wherever you want. But anything helps, and it helps to continue to make this happen all the time. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Good stuff.
What else is going on?
We went to the movies a lot this week.
We sure did. Well, we went twice.
We went
We went
twice.
twice, yeah. Had a good time,
Yes,
actually.
very good time. So Monday, we got to go see the Fathom event premiere of Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders, which was, as you guys remember, we were talking to you guys about it, the 1966-based animated Batman movie featuring the voices of Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar from the original cast there. That was way more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. It's kind of like you were saying, you can kind of hear the age on some of the original cast, and for a
Absolutely.
second it's distracting, but only like a second. And after that, you don't even think about it anymore. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. It's actually probably one of the best, the most well-written Batman animated movies I've seen in a very long time. Like, it is so perfectly aware of both the campiness of the series, but then, like, Batman on the whole.
Yeah.
Like, the jokes aren't just limited to the 66 series. It's, like, how culture
really
receives Batman.
specifically, cinema Batman, I think, the most.
Mostly, yes, but the jokes, when they hit hard. Like, our theater was laughing about 2 minutes in very easily.
Granted, there were not a lot of people in that theater.
Admittedly not.
At best, there were 15 people in that theater.
Still, those 15 people were laughing their asses off.
Yeah.
And I was one of them. Especially, there's I don't want to spoil it for anybody, because it's absolutely worth either, if they're going to play it again, the price of admission, or when it comes out on Blu-ray, absolutely go see this thing.
Batman making jokes referencing other Batmen is very,
Well, yeah,
very
I can
funny.
say that much. Adam West Batman saying lines other Batmen have said is both weird, mildly disturbing, and hilarious.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you don't expect that to come out of his mouth.
And I feel like the WB animation style, like, it really loaned itself well to the WB animation style.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was really, really good.
Because of the wackiness and campiness of the series, yeah, animation perfectly works for this particular iteration of Batman. And as we were talking to you guys about last week, they've already got the sequel set with William Shatner in the role of Two-Face. So now, having seen this, that put my expectations even higher for that one. And I was already talking that up to begin with. So I am absolutely going to check that out as soon as I see that tickets are on sale or we got pre-orders. Like, I'm down for that mess.
But we did also see Shin Godzilla.
Yes, that we saw last night.
I mean, I liked it, but
it's kind of a mixed bag. It's kind of a mixed bag.
It's gonna be really polarizing, I think, especially to a Western audience.
Yeah.
This is definitely tailored in Japan for a Japanese audience.
Some people are going to look at it like some parts. I have to admit, I'll be the first one to admit, some parts people warned me, it's going to be kind of disturbing how Godzilla looks. I'm like, really? This guy? And then I saw it and I was like,
well,
okay, you kind of got me.
Before his final form.
Yeah.
Because Godzilla has a final form? That's a really
Which
weird...
we already talked about.
Yeah,
we knew that.
We did know that, but his first form, I think, was the most disturbing just because it was so weird.
Yeah, because in that form, it's a lot more unsettling because he moves more like a creature.
Yeah.
You know, like a bug or like a small lizard.
He doesn't really have a purpose in the beginning.
Well, he doesn't really have a purpose at all. He's just kind of there, which is not to say that's any different from the original Gogeta film, but here it just feels even more, why are you here?
Yeah. But at the same time, here's what I thought overall, it felt less like a kaiju monster movie and more like a natural disaster movie.
This is very true.
So for that reason, I didn't get stuck up on Godzilla doesn't have a reason to be here. That really didn't bother me that much, but I think a lot of people are going to find it really dry. It's really political, but there's a reason why it's political.
Yeah.
There's a couple of reasons why it's political, because they wanted to make a jab at, oh, you sure did handle the Fukushima reactors really badly 5 years ago, government. You did a bad job.
Yeah.
And they were really sticking it to their own government. And then on top of that, they were sticking it to us as Americans for like, hey, you bombed us, please don't bomb us again.
Well, because admittedly, it's their movie. They get to say that,
Yeah.
and we can't really do much about that. That's their perspective. It's their property.
Mm-hmm.
We just imported it over here.
Yes.
So we thought it was important to go ahead and talk about that, and we can't talk about that without having the star of the movie with us. And you know the movie's out, so we got to bring him out here. Shinji, everybody. All right, Shinji. So are you happy with the reception that you're receiving over here for the movie? Okay, that's great. Did you have to do a lot of training to get into shape for this movie? Okay. How do you feel about the political overtones that Anno threw in the movie, given the disaster over in Fukushima? And also, what do you think about the Japanese government as far as preparedness goes for natural disasters such as yourself?
I had a feeling that's where you were going.
You just don't want to answer that. All right. Shinji, everybody. I had a feeling he was going to dodge questions. Politics, man.
Oh my god, Josh. In all seriousness, though, there are parts of it that also felt like live-action Evangelion because...
Well, absolutely.
Thanks, Anno.
Yeah.
You just made more Eva. Good job. All the text on the screen was the exact same font as
same
Eva.
music.
Same music, yeah. What was kind of irritating, I remember hearing some other people have the same complaint, and this is purely based on a subtitle. I can understand why, for the sake of this movie, you would almost want to see a dub instead of subs, because there's so much Japanese, enormous white text all over the screen for 50 to 60% of the movie.
That's mostly...
Then there's yellow English subs on top of the white subs, translating the white text on screen and subs above it to translate what somebody is saying at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like, 70% of the screen is text.
Admittedly, that's a
really
very Anno thing.
Yeah.
You can absolutely see it.
English subs, though, is not an Anno thing. That's a problem with watching
flooding the screen
subtitles.
with that much text is an Anno thing.
Yes, but you don't understand. There's no picture left after you go and watch a subtitled version of this movie.
No, that is true for some scenes, especially really in the early goings, because they do reference a lot of how the Japanese government works in this movie. When you're having to see a person who's talking, so there's their text, then there's their title, there's that text, and then if there's a big sign in the corner, that gets translated. So really, it's like if you're watching this show and you can only read part of the kan on my shirt, and that's it. You can't see the rest of this because it's all kanji.
Yeah, basically. So that's. I hope Funimation actually does dub it. I'm not sure whether or not they will.
They said they were thinking about it, but it's not looking positive.
I kind of figured, but man, I kind of wish they would, because that was a lot of text I have to see through.
Yeah, admittedly, yeah.
So maybe we should probably stop talking about this.
Yeah, we're not here to review it. We're here to do a show.
Yeah. So on top of that, I thought I would also bring up one other thing today and just tell you guys how thankful I am to be here today, because I was out for a walk and all I wanted to do was pay off my reserve for Final Fantasy 15 so that I could get it on launch day. And as I was walking to place to pay off my reserve, I watched a burglary happen right in front of my eyes. And that was a little bit scary because their getaway vehicle drove up in between myself and the robbers. And then the robbers got into their getaway vehicle and they drove off. And I was kind of scared because I know they saw me. And I thought, they might not want me to be around because I saw them. oh my god. But they didn't do anything. They just got in their vehicle and they drove off, and I talked to the police, and I guess the police are on the case. So I'm alive today, and I'm thankful for it, and I wanted you guys to know that.
So this will be the last episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We're going into witness protection next week. Good going, Kaylin.
I was walking! How do you stop? How do you prevent yourself from seeing something that is happening right? Like, I just rounded the corner, and there's these dudes running out with trash bags full of stuff from this residence, and I was like, this can't be what this looks like. No, this is what this looks like. This, oh my god, it was a little scary.
Well, see, that's your end of town. On my end of town, there was an active shooter.
Oh, wow.
So we're both very lucky to be here today, either from being witness to a robbery or potentially being shot.
Yeah.
So it's good. Nice relaxing show now.
Yes.
Where we yell about other things.
Yeah.
Let's focus on that.
Let's do that. So what are our actual show topics for today?
Okay, so we had talked to you guys before about this past weekend at New York City Comic Con. Lionsgate had their official Power Rangers reboot movie panel, along with the release of the first official footage from the movie. So we're going to talk to you guys about that, how the footage looks, what they said there, what they didn't say, and really how the movie's looking in comparison to the original series.
Right. Secondly, I wasn't planning on originally talking about this, but oh, what the heck, it looks kind of enjoyable and something I'm not going to yell at. World of Final Fantasy, for as much of a spin-off as it is, and it's not a mainline Final Fantasy, it actually looks like a Final Fantasy that might actually be fun, and they keep talking about it and releasing news stories about it and trailers and gameplay footage, and
You wanna like it.
I might want to like it. It's so hard to say that now, but it might be fun. So I'll talk to you guys about that in a little bit.
Yes, and then our last story of the evening, which apparently everybody's watching it right now, just came out this morning. The final trailer for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, dropped, and it looks hella amazing. We're going to talk to you guys about that, all the visuals therein, just Star Wars hype, all the Star Wars hype.
All the Star Wars hype, as usual. That
Yes.
comes up with us a lot. So, before that, though, I'm sure we've got follow-ups, yes?
We got follow-ups.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
so let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, every week, full-blown Justice League.
Why?
Because it must,
Why?
until we get past it.
Why?
Because that's the thing, we're coming at
No,
this
it's
full-blown.
not. No.
Okay, so as we told you guys
unreasonable.
last week, full-blown Justice League, or as the movie's going to be called anyway, Justice League, has finished filming over in the UK, and they've moved on to Iceland to go ahead and start filming there. Some exterior shots for Aquaman's part of the movie. As such, we've actually gotten our first look from Zack Snyder at Amber Heard in costume for Mera, who is Aquaman's wife, and we have a picture here of her there in costume. Now, admittedly, the costume was very desaturated, much like all the other photos that were released in regard to this movie.
In regards to anything DC
Well,
lately, yeah.
pretty much. So we've gotten a hold of this one that's been touched up with the natural light there. The costume looking very much like her new 52 iteration. Looks great. Amber Heard looks great in the role. Can't wait to see how that looks for Justice League. And then, of course, in the solo Aquaman movie where she will also be showing up.
Yes.
Okay, also in addition to that, over in the world of DC movies, we've gotten a few tidbits on the Wonder Woman movie. The state being that they're saying, well, this is going to be a lighter tone movie than the last two, because we understand the Superman movie was about you as the audience understanding how big this could be, and we understand that certain characters need to be dark, like Batman, but Wonder Woman's going to be more hopeful.
Okay.
But they completely glossed over, like, okay, so that works for Batman, but you release Superman first and he's dark. You completely, like, missed that part.
Right.
So,
that was what I was thinking as you were saying that.
That's exactly what I was thinking as I was reading it. So they're saying it's going to have a different tone in the movie and that she will have a more hopeful standpoint on the world at large. But the thing about it is, when you tell us that her characterization in Batman v Superman, which happens after Wonder Woman, is that she's fed up with the world and decides, I don't want anything to do with this. So that means no matter how hopeful it looks, it's going to end up dark.
Mm-hmm.
So, nice try.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
you're not gonna
tried
sell
to
me
put
on
a
that.
positive spin on it, and it didn't work. It sounds like they already had a plan for the movie, even back when they were doing Batman v Superman.
Absolutely.
And then it was too hard to pull away from it. By
That's
point.
pretty much what I'm thinking.
And even though they knew, oh crap, they don't want this though, but they couldn't stop it anymore.
So I can only hope that there's some truth to that, or if not completely true, but I'm not really buying it.
Yeah, I get you.
Let's forget about that. Let's move on to the world of DC television. So over on the CW, two little bits of information there. First off, this week we saw the premiere of Supergirl Season 2 over there on the CW, having moved there from CBS.
People were really excited about that.
Very excited, to the point that they had their highest ratings ever for the 18 to 35 male demographic ever on the CW, and the highest ratings for that night, that time slot, in 8 years.
Wow.
It was amazing for the CW. In addition to that, the CW has also released a promotional picture just this morning of a new character we're going to be seeing on the show, who's actually somebody you already know.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and pull up this picture here. This is of the character Guardian, who's there in the DC Comics. We saw an iteration of him over in Season 2 of Young Justice. This version of Guardian will actually be James Olsen. Makad Brooks saying that he will go ahead and play this version of the character.
What?
Jimmy will, who of course is traditionally a photographer who knows Superman, now knows Kara, decides that he doesn't want to be on the sidelines anymore and actually wants to become a vigilante.
But isn't kind of the charm of Jimmy Olsen is just that he's just the guy that's there?
Yes! And the thing about it is, given how they've been writing Supergirl, they've written him incredibly charming.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why you guys thought you had to do this, combine two characters. Like, I thought... DC, I thought we were done dissing Jimmy when you did Supergirl. Like, you're gonna play him like you did in Batman v Superman, and now you're gonna do this to... Like, I'll give him as much as, alright, you want him to get in on the action, fine, but did you had to take another character that already exists and give him that costume? Like, CW does kind of have that problem.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's hard.
So there's that. And then over in game news, we have confirmed that the third episode of Batman, the Telltale series, will be out October 25th, same day as the game we'll be talking about later.
Okay, cool.
So the trailer's out for that. If you haven't already got it, get in on it, because it's really, really good. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the story changes, because there's a very big decision at the end of episode 2 that will change how episode 3 goes, because of course that's the nature of a Telltale game. Your choices dictate how the game's going to go.
Right.
Multiple
endings.
Multiple endings.
Branchings in different directions.
Yes, I'm very excited to see how that turns out. Okay, so let's go ahead and shift over to Marvel news. So, of course, we had a lot of Marvel news out of New York Comic Con, the biggest being from the Defenders. The Defenders series, there has announced their villain for the series, not necessarily who the character is, but who the actress is playing the main villain for the Defenders, none other than Sigourney Weaver. Thing about it is, I can't figure out for the life of me who she's going to be playing.
I don't know anything about the Defenders, so I can't help
No,
you.
see, that's the thing. I'm thinking about, okay, how many big, bad, older women roles are there in Marvel, and I'm drawing a blank. Like you had Madame Wu already in Daredevil, and of course she'll be showing back here in Iron Fist coming soon, but here, your guess is as good as mine. If anybody's got any good idea as to who she's going to be, send it my way. I'm more than willing to soak that up.
Yeah, absolutely. We can talk about that.
In addition to that, we've of course got more footage there for the Iron Fist series. More comments on that from the cast, saying that Danny Rand's fight style is going to be quite similar to Daredevil's, except it's going to flow a little bit better. Daredevil's more of a brawler, whereas Iron Fist, the movement is based kind of in Tai Chi, so it's going to be more flowy, more showy. They'll have their version of a hallway fight, which seems to be the thing that happens every season, but it's going to be more choreographed, more smooth looking for the audience, and he's going to have the lighter tone there out of the 4 Netflix series, out of the Defenders, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and now Iron Fist. As in addition to that, we also got some casting information on the Black Panther movie. Forrest Whitaker, who you guys will be able to see coming up in Rogue One, has signed on to the cast as well.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll have that to look forward to. And we've also gotten a quote from Scarlett Johansson saying she is still very much in active talks for the Black Widow solo movie. They have not given up on that. They're just trying to figure out the story.
Yeah, but from a conversation I heard from another show a little earlier this evening, she's apparently going, yeah, still in talks, but like, guys, clock's ticking. Not gonna wait around forever.
See, like, admittedly, I appreciate that about her, that she's not letting it go down. Like, hey, I am this character. I believe in this character. I know this character's got story to tell. Let's tell it. What are you waiting on?
Yeah.
So, absolutely, Scarlet, stay on it. Stay strong. All right, so we've got that news. Let's go ahead and move on to a little bit of other news. We talked to you guys last week about the toy line coming out for Voltron Legendary Defender.
Right.
We can now go ahead and quote officially that the start date for Season 2 over on Netflix is going to be January 20th.
Oh, cool.
So we only have to wait so long for that to come
Just
out.
a week before my birthday.
Yeah, so you can have Voltron for your birthday.
Yeah.
And then you can have decent Voltron toys. We showed you guys that grainy pic last week of the large Voltron lion.
Right.
But now they've released the whole line there. It's only the lions and one
Do they not combine?
They do combine.
They combine, okay.
The combining one is only about $50, which is fairly reasonable. It has lights and sound. They also have some Voltron roleplay items, specifically the mask and a folding-out blazing sword.
Right.
Depending on the size, I might want the blazing sword, but you better believe I want that
If it's
lion.
itty-bitty, then I don't want it.
No, it's probably going to be like, yeah, but hopefully it's not like Power Rangers tiny.
Yeah.
Because you know the problem with Power Rangers
Yeah.
toys now. They're designed for babies.
As if it's a children's television show.
Yeah, but the kids ain't that small. We're not that small.
Alright.
Some of us are in our 30s.
31-year-old baby.
Yeah, 31-year-old baby. All right, so moving on to some other news, again coming out of New York Comic Con. We got our first look at the 2016 Doctor Who Christmas special. We will get some Doctor Who this year, thank goodness. But there's some interesting information with that. So the title of the episode will be called The Return of Dr. Mysterio, where Stephen Moffat says the character that the Doctor's going to interact with is a very Superman-esque type of character. That character being played by Justin Chatwin. If that name sounds a little familiar, he would be the guy that couldn't say Kamehameha right in Dragon Ball Evolution. He will be playing a superhero there that the Doctor will try to help out. No further words on the plot just yet, but we will, of course, be getting that Christmas Day.
I don't Doctor Who.
I understand that. And that's perfectly okay. I do enough for the both of us for Doctor Who.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we've got that. Over in anime adaptation news, okay, so over on the Battle Angel Alita side of things, actress Lana Condor, who made her debut in X-Men Apocalypse, will be cast in the movie in the character of Koyomi K, somebody who lives there in the scrapyard. So more casting there. They're still getting it moving forward. But kind of this, I'm starting to feel the same way about Battle Angel that I do about Pacific Rim. That's great that you keep casting people. Can we get started now?
Yeah, please.
Please. I can only say so much.
I'm sure they need people to be in their movie.
I get
Josh.
it, but like
you don't have a movie if you don't have people to
I get
act
it.
in it.
I get it. I just want to get it over with. I just want to get it over with.
Over with, or do you just want to? Because I want to kind of cherish the whole ride.
All right.
I think it's
Maybe
enjoyable
I'm just being
that way.
impatient.
You're being impatient.
Okay. Now,
That's the
speaking
answer.
of impatience and the payoff therein, I did not believe I was going to be able to deliver on this.
I did
news
not
right
see
here.
this coming ever.
No, in the back of my mind, I knew there was a possibility. I know you didn't believe, but I believed. Now that day has finally come. Just announced this weekend, company Section 23 Kraken has officially announced that
they're under Section 23.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
has officially announced that the original run of the Garo Tokusatsu series will be distributed here in the U.S.
I'm telling you, I absolutely did not see that coming, and I only believed that they would ever care about the anime, and the anime is such a different presentation than that, especially the original live-action series, that I just didn't even, I didn't consider.
Now, this is amazing. This is one of those things like, dear God, in my wildest dreams, I could only hope, and now my hope has actually been founded in something. If you guys haven't seen Garo, get in on it now. I know a lot of sites are already talking about dropping the subs they already have, so whatever you got, hold on to, because it's time to pony up that money. We got to support the tokusatsu that comes here stateside. You better believe I am on this day one.
There was some rumor that, like, especially if the initial release of the original series does well, then they will continue to release subsequent Garo live-action series that have been made.
Yes, they come out. There was such a time where we thought, well, we'll never get season 2. We've just got the one movie and that's it. And now they come out, new Garo products. and series come out about as often as Tyler Perry movies. You're just pumping them out now, and they're amazing. So very happy to be reporting on that.
Yeah, Section 23 spurned off of the anime publishers and distributors, right?
Yeah.
And Kraken, they released some other kaiju films in the past, but not that many. So that must be Section 23's live action division.
Well,
I have
good.
to assume.
Thank goodness for their live action division.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last thing we'll talk about here in the follow-ups, again, something I didn't think I was going to report on. Like, when I say it, it's going to make sense. But I didn't think this is something
But it's still kind of weird.
But it's still kind of weird. So, we knew that there was going to be a movie war coming out this December featuring Kamen Rider Ex-Aid and Kamen Rider Ghost. That's fine. Then we found out that they're going to be the other writers, the last 3 writers before that in there, Drive, Gaim, and Wizard. That's also great. But then blow that up if you can.
Then there's this right? I can't.
Mother-loving Pac-Man, all right?
Why? Because he's owned by Bandai
Namco, who produces the toys for Kamen Riders for the last, I don't know, however many years. Point being,
just about forever.
Just about forever. So this December, we're going to see the Kamen Riders facing off against, and I quote, Dr. Pac-Man. He's a doctor in this. I don't know. I guess in all these years he finally went to med school. Good for him. Oh,
well, he did get his driver's license at least, because he drives around in Mario Kart now.
Yes.
So he can drive. He's a licensed driver and a licensed doctor now.
So now he's a licensed doctor. And the first thing that came to many people's minds, myself included, like, well, he only has one job in this movie. He's going to try and eat Ghost.
That has to be, because
he's gonna eat ghosts.
That's the only plot of a Pac-Man game is Pac-Man eats ghosts. So what else could he possibly be doing?
He's going to eat him. He's going to eat Necrom. He's going to eat Spectre. It's going to be a thing. I don't even know.
Why is it going to be a thing?
Like, I was happy enough saying that you're going to bring back those older writers. Like, great. I hope you get the actors back.
I was happy enough that in episode 1 of Ex-Aid, they had a real handheld game console, the Wonder Swan, and I was like, I get it.
But now,
Bandai Namco, and I understand, but come on, guys. Okay, that's enough. But then maybe they'll say, isn't the One Piece Musou games, aren't they released by Bandai Namco?
Yes.
But you still would have to get other rights along
Look,
with
let's
that.
not overthink it right now.
You could insert all kinds of Bandai Namco properties.
That's entirely possible, but for right now, this is the thing we have to look forward to. Merry Christmas.
I have to say, I like that apparently Pac-Man must have gone to DeVry University.
Of course.
I like
that just makes sense.
Of course. Nothing about that makes sense. What am I saying? It makes so much sense and makes zero sense.
All at once.
Yeah.
But that having been said...
it's too on the nose.
Yeah, it's a little too on the nose, but neither Ex-Aid or Pac-Man have noses.
Oh man. Okay, let's
move
on.
Let's get moving. We got a show to do.
Yeah.
All right, so
Power Rangers, right?
Yeah. So
I'm running this trailer right now. All right. It's the end of the trailer. It'll loop in a second.
Loop back.
So the Comic-Con again was a thing that happened this past weekend. And over at New York Con, even before the panel dropped.
Several hours. We thought we were going to get it at the panel, that they would release this and then release it wide online. They released this 5 hours ahead of time?
In fact, it's so funny. During the Power Rangers panel, they're like, all right, now we're going to show the trailer. Woo! Cut for the live feed.
Yeah.
As if it were some big secret, despite the fact that the trailer came first. So anyway, I guess we should talk trailer talk first.
Right.
Then go into the panel, since they came out to us in that order.
So admittedly, I did already talk about this. I did my reaction video over on my YouTube channel. If you guys want, you can go ahead and see that, but we'll just talk about it briefly here. So this came out. They play a little snippet of the Go-Go Power Rangers theme.
Yeah.
Like, great, you guys remembered that. But as such, it is so incredibly tonally different than any iteration of Power Rangers I've ever seen, with the exception of, and I hate to say this, Power/Rangers.
Yeah, that is the most similar thing I can think of. So, I know you did say a lot. I am mostly in agreement with you, but I feel like my explanations for why I'm in agreement with you are either different or I just articulate them differently than you do.
Well,
All right.
you go ahead. You go ahead.
So, to talk about what we're seeing in this trailer, of course, we see people with the namesakes of all of the original 5 Mighty Morphin Power
Right, Jason,
Rangers.
Trini, Zach, Kimberly, Billy.
But their character types are ridiculously different, most of them, in many different ways. Jason does not do karate, he plays football. Angel Grove, for one thing, I always had this picture in my head that Angel Grove was a Southern Californian, suburban,
Right.
like, it felt like it was somewhere around San Diego.
Yeah,
is what it
exactly.
always looked like to me. And here, it looks like they plopped them down in Iowa. Even though we
like
know
Colorado.
somewhere far more grassy and hilly, and Southern California has a lot of dirts and rock.
Dirt and rock.
Multiple dirts and one rock.
Multiple dirts and one rock. And the
Dirt
thing about
and
it is,
rocks.
speaking of multiple dirts and one rock, apparently one rock out there in a quarry, great guys that you remember they fight in quarries sometime, happens to have the power coins inside them, and they have to blast them out.
I'm not in agreement with how that is executed. So I feel like you got a lot of hate.
Admittedly, I got a lot of hate, but some people do agree that this doesn't feel quite right.
Some do, but if we're going to be fair, there's a lot of people that I saw immediately get excited about this.
This is true.
So I'm going to start by asking the question, and then I think I'm going to answer the question.
Sure.
Why is it that this, I agree that this tonally feels like what they tried to do with Gem and the Holograms with the film, where
Right.
they wanted a namesake, but they did not want to actually borrow from how ludicrous the source material is. It was made for friggin' children, okay?
Right.
Both of those properties were made for children.
Absolutely.
And when people saw the Gem trailer, the backlash was astronomical, just ridiculous.
Right.
But there is not as much backlash over Power Rangers, and
Right.
I wonder why that is. And I sat and I thought about it for a while, and I just sort of think, well, I think most people, especially within our demographic, saw Power Rangers, and only a certain volume of people kept watching Power Rangers past Mighty Morphin. And after that, even if you never watched Power Rangers, or you were a younger kid, and then you came in, I don't know, 5 or more teams later, there's
like Lost Galaxy, thereabouts.
yeah, then you have this idea in the ether, right, of what Power Rangers is, and so it doesn't matter so much to you what the character types are, how they got their powers, whatever. To you, really, to the majority of America, everybody knows kind of what Power Rangers is, and they're totally cool with, hey, there's 5 people and they dress in multicolors and they get in giant robots and they fight and stuff, and we all know what that is. And I feel like because it's more popular, it's gonna be like Transformers, right?
Yeah.
And Transformers is something that everybody knows.
Right.
And regardless of whether or not you like Bayformers, okay? I do not like Bayformers. Somebody freaking does.
Right.
Okay? Somebody just wants more Transformers, and they don't care what it is. They're just like, I love this franchise, period, to the death. And they will go and see every single Bayformer movie, and I feel like that's what's happening with Power Rangers.
That's entirely possible, and a lot of the comments I've gotten thus far is that, hey, it's a reboot, it's allowed to be different, and yes, you're right, a reboot does that, but at the same time, I think some of the better reboots are the ones that stay true to what makes the story the story.
Right.
Which is why, like, I know that this is an unpopular opinion, but as far as a reboot goes, that's why I liken something like, say, the Wachowski Speed Racer movie to right there where a reboot needs to be, because it takes the core of what it is, accepts it for what it is, and then makes it bigger.
Yeah. I feel like there is a group of, and this I think is a completely different mentality of, if we're going to compare a Japanese audience who would want to see a Super Sentai adaptation, for example,
right.
And pair that up against an American audience that grew up with Power Rangers, for some reason, we as Americans have this mentality, right? Of, oh man, I got older, I want stuff to mature along with me.
Right.
And I feel like there is very much that audience that actually wants grimdark Power Rangers, but quite frankly, I just kind of don't think that's right. Because it's intended for children. It was always intended for children.
It's intended to be bright.
Yeah.
That's what Power Rangers are. That's what it was adapted from. Super Sentai. Mm-hmm. It's for children. It's intended for that, like you were always saying, 3 to 7 audience. Those little boys and little girls.
We were that target audience.
Hell yeah. I was 7 or 8. I was 8 years old at the time.
Yeah, I was 7.
And I was so glued to my set every Saturday, and then weekdays when they transferred over to weekdays, like, I was the intended audience. I went out and I begged my mom, please get me the Megazord, get me the Dragonzord, get me Titanus. Like, I was on that mess. Mm-hmm. And then to see it now, what I want to see is a faithful adaptation. Now, admittedly, I will be the first to admit, if I wanted something that's been updated but faithful, the Boom Comics do that just fine.
Yes, I like that. I feel like clearly I must not be the right audience. What I think would have been really fun is if this movie had just embraced how ludicrous it is and just decided we're gonna be really bright. And I'm not saying bad acting, because people are like, what, did you want the bad acting and campiness? And campy? Maybe. Bad acting? No. Like, they're two completely different things. Furthermore, let's say we did not go in that route and we did, in fact, go, okay, so they're kind of troubled. Let's make them a little more grounded and realistic. I don't like that as much, but it could have been done. You could have done it and kept more faithful to the original character archetypes and characterizations. We could have had a karate instructor who's like, man, none of my students actually understand why it is that I'm trying to teach them why certain things are important, why you don't just go and beat people up. You could have had Billy still kind of be a social outcast,
which apparently he still is, but
and that's fine. Why was it that who's other dude? Why am I blanking? Zach. We hear nothing out of him.
Yeah, Zach has one line at the end, like it's happening or something like that. Everybody else has lines or several lines. Billy, Kimberly, and Jason have the most lines in the trailer, and then you hear like 2 lines from Trini and 1 line from Zach, and I'm over here like, what's up with that? You guys are still trying to shaft the Yellow and the Black Rangers? Mm-hmm. Like, come on, I thought we were past this.
Yeah.
Like, really. And then as for the panel itself, we were hoping to get a lot of different insight into the characters, maybe hear something that was a little more positive about it. Apparently they filmed most of it chronologically as per the script. So there will be a Zord battle at the end of the movie.
There will also be Goldar.
They did confirm Goldar.
Yeah.
We have had no sign of Goldar thus far. So I'm a little worried about how Goldar is going to look based off the designs that we've seen thus far.
Really, though, also because these characters are so very troubled, and apparently some of them are bad people to a certain extent. Got Jason's wrecked that car. He's got he's got a low jack. He's got the house arrest ankle bracelet.
He's got a low jack.
And I'm just sitting here like, this doesn't make me think that they're when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be the Power Rangers.
Exactly, they were role models.
I don't want to be any of these people. I don't want to be any of these people. I don't want to grow into these people. Now, maybe they're gonna turn around and surprise me because this is just a teaser trailer, and maybe it's gonna be something like, oh, well, whoever was gonna come out here was destined to come out here and find them, and it's because they had something in them that I already knew.
No, like, I bet you that's exactly what they're gonna do, but it's still gonna feel friggin' cheap.
Yeah.
Because, to me, there's a very stark difference, and I know I'm basing it off the footage, but so do you. You have to base it off this. Don't try to defend something you didn't see.
Yeah.
What I see here is a bunch of kids who are trespassing, broke something out of some rock, and maybe somehow got superpowers, which is different from the original iteration of these kids who are good to begin with. Seemingly, you could look up to them as a 7-year-old looking up to a 16, 17-year-old. Mm-hmm. That's somebody I want to emulate. Those kids with something good in them, because nothing in the trailer shows me there's anything good about them. Yeah. It just shows me they have problems. But seeing that these 5 good kids were chosen That was the bigger thing. They were plucked up by Zordon, teleported to the command center, and then bestowed the powers.
And I get that you don't want to do that way too... Like, I feel like the first episode, of course, of Power Rangers, it's a children's TV show, it's kitschy, it does that way too fast, and you just have to immediately accept that that's what it is, because we were kids.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would have been possible to do something similar, but kind of drag it out a little more, show us why it is that maybe Zordon's watching them and thinking, yeah, my confirmations are right about this person here, and my confirmations are right about this person here, and maybe not make it an exact, like, colored rainbow pillars of light, oh, I'm just gonna poof them all up all at once. You could do it more tastefully, more cinematically.
Yeah, I get that.
I feel like that's a thing that could have been done. It could have been more... We could call that grounded, but still accepting this is ludicrous. The show is ludicrous. Just accept that that's the property you chose and don't try and make a different movie. A lot of people have said this just looks like Chronicle. And
it absolutely looks like Chronicle.
And some people are saying, oh, well, I mean, that's cool. Chronicle was a good movie. And yes, I liked Chronicle. I really did. But I also liked Chronicle because I thought that we were never going to get a live-action Akira.
Exactly.
And that was the closest thing we were going to get to it. And so I don't need them to make another Chronicle.
Right. I wanted Power Rangers.
Right.
And what you guys are selling me is Chronicle with a splash of Gem and the Holograms, and maybe we'll get the Power Rangers, because the only thing we get as far as Power Rangers are concerned is we see the Power Coins, we see Rita threaten Trini, which we already knew about, and then we see a glimpse of the command center and a glimpse of maybe the initial transfer of the power. But see, here's the thing that I'll try to wrap up with. When they actually transform, if they get rid of the pageantry that is transforming, like that was the thing every kid lived for, was to be able to go out in the playground and yell out, "It's morphin' time!"
Are they gonna have morphers?
See, I don't even know.
Everyone wants a morpher. Everyone wants a morpher.
Everybody, I still got mine, and I'm glad.
I need a new one. Of course, I want a Jew Ranger morpher.
That's fine.
Which is really the same thing. It just has different letters on it.
Yes.
That's all. That's the only difference.
But yes, this is everything we've been given thus far. Of course, you can believe we're going to be on top of this. But for the time being, I've decided to go ahead and coin for this movie, since we kind of name the movies that we talk about more often than not. If they don't improve, and if this still looks pretty sketchy as we get closer to the release, I'm calling this Day of the Dumpster Fire.
But that having been said, clearly audiences have spoken, and we might be on the minority end of things.
I'm sticking to my guns on this one.
I'm not gonna change my mind, but I don't think it would be fair to say that if this looks like something you're going to enjoy, like, don't let us invalidate you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to invalidate.
Go enjoy it, and then come back to us and let's have another discussion about why you enjoyed it, because right now I feel like the reasons why people are enjoying it are actually the reasons why I don't like it.
Yeah,
but that's okay. That's totally okay.
Differing opinions can happen.
We need to get onto a different story very badly.
Okay. So let's go ahead and talk to you guys about World of Final Fantasy.
Yes.
Which is the new game coming out October 25th.
For PS4 and PS Vita.
Yes, there's going to be a demo coming out very soon.
On the 19th, I believe, is what they said. 18th or 19th. So, what you're looking at right now, this opening for the game was released just yesterday. And as you can tell, it includes a bunch of 2D animations. And everybody looks really tiny and adorable and chibi and stuff. The news that has come out has mostly been like this opening and promotional stuff for the game, and I haven't really been talking about World of Final Fantasy, but as more and more stuff comes out, I have to admit, as I've been seeing stuff come out, it looks kind of fun. Now, it also looks so adorable, it's kind of gross.
It's off-putting to you.
It's kind of ridiculously adorable gross. Take, for example, back a little over a month ago, they released footage of... Because you can pick up, as you go on, you see these two characters, they're brother and sister. And they don't have memories or something, and they run around picking up pieces of memories, and it's just a very big Final Fantasy overall amalgamation of what has gone on over the last 30 years within the franchise. And so, like, at some point they released a little over a month ago footage of you can get Sephiroth in the game. All right, tiny little adorable, sickeningly adorable chibi Sephiroth.
I'd say hilariously adorable.
I laughed because
you
it's
laughed hard.
Because it's playing One Winged Angel in the background.
It's the fire.
It's doing the fire from when he burned down Nibelheim, and then he summons Meteor, and then he turns his back and walks into the fire, and he's just tiny and way too cute to be allowed to live, and it's hilarious.
Now,
and I don't know, I'm so angry that it looks like a fun game because the appearance is so off-putting to me, but the gameplay looks kind of legit. I'm so mad. I don't know what to do.
See, this is the thing I was hoping for. You still found a way to be mad about something Final Fantasy that you potentially like.
I might like it, Josh.
You might like it.
Oh, no.
Now, see, here's the thing. Looking at that description again, and I'll go back over it. Bare bones description of what this game is. 2 kids walking through a world, meeting Final Fantasy characters. How does that not sound like Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah,
How are you not selling Kingdom Hearts to me again?
They made this instead of Kingdom Hearts 3, Josh.
That's
and
what
God knows when that game's coming out. So you can totally see where Square Enix's attention was divided.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, all at once, all at the same time, and this is what came out before Kingdom Hearts 3. And before Final Fantasy 15.
Exactly.
It would not have, had 15 not had been delayed until November 29th. But, so, I'm looking at all these new news articles, right? So, apparently, really enormous versions of these tiny little super deformed figures are going to be put all throughout train stations in Japan, and they're selling, of course, these tiny little figures. Some of them
You want some of these.
There's one in particular that I really want, and it's a cactuar. And typically, like, cactuars are cute, but this cactuar is wearing a train conductor's hat with a cactuar on the train conductor's hat, and he's carrying a train conductor's lantern. And in his other hand that's doing this, he's carrying a train conductor's whistle. And I like trains, and cactuar is kind of cute. Damn it, Josh! I want this figure. It's adorable.
See, I actually want this
tiny Magitech armor looks really cool. I kind of actually do not want any of the tiny chibi protagonist figures from throughout Final. I don't want smiling, adorable Sephiroth. I can't do that.
Really, I'm not interested in any of those characters there. Like,
I'm not
I might have
yeah.
considered, like, Warrior of Light, but they don't seem to have him there.
It's not. He's not pictured anyway. They just announced that Riku, as dressed in her Final Fantasy X-2 garb, is going to be introduced into the game as well. So I want to talk a little bit about the gameplay, just a little bit to explain why it is that I don't just want it because it looks cute, because the cute part is like the opposite reason of why I would typically want it.
Right.
It looks like the gameplay is mostly traditional Final Fantasy JRPG style gameplay.
Turn-based?
It's turn-based. Yeah, turn-based, menu-based fighting system. It's open world maps though, so there is a little bit of exploration, and on top of that, so you apparently can choose 2 forms, the tiny itty-bitty chibi version, or the 2/3 kind of chibi version that's halfway between realistic and not realistic. And then on top of that, you start collecting little monster friends all throughout, and they're monsters like you got chocobos, you got moogles, you got behemoths, and as you collect these monsters, you start to stack them on your head. And you're like, that sounds really stupid, why would you do that? Well, apparently when you stack them on your head, then you can do different abilities and stuff, and you put them in a different order, and they'll do different attacks and different abilities, and it looks really stupid and comical, but it's a really clever sort of thing to do in the battle system. And then there's a leveling up thing that you can do that's a whole heck of a lot like the sphere grid in Final Fantasy X, which at the time when the sphere grid came out, I was like, why am I doing this? This is dumb, but then I got used to it and I kind of was okay with it. And like, maybe it's all okay. Maybe the gameplay's alright. And like,
Kaylin, I know you haven't said it yet, but I'll go ahead and spell this out for you. Square Enix might have made something Final Fantasy recently that's good.
What? And like it plays traditional Final Fantasy music, and like even here in this opening cinema thing, once you get to the end of the clip, they're there standing right in front of Corneria, which is the very first city in the very first Final Fantasy, and it's like the shot out of the first NES game, but it's 3D, and that kind of means something, and I don't know what to do, especially because I just paid off Final Fantasy 15. I can't afford another $60 game, Josh, but this is a game I want to play.
Now, admittedly, what makes it worse is that if you get the limited edition for PS4, comes with all that DLC, Sephiroth, Red Bonneberry, White Chocobo, Glow Moogle, and the Japanese voice track. You have an option there. Japanese or English.
You don't get the Japanese voice track unless you buy the limited edition?
Yep.
That's kind of bogus.
For the $60, but it also comes with a 24-page art book.
I don't need the art book that bad. But other extra DLC is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you would have to deal with Chibi Sephiroth.
Yeah, I'll laugh at him. It was funny. Okay.
Yes.
I confess it was funny. Really, maybe I shouldn't stay on this too long because we have one more story that we gotta get through.
This is a thing that might actually make you happy from Square.
It might, but I can't afford to buy it. But I'll play the demo. In fact, I might even stream the demo when it comes out. Again, I want to say
in
that's
a few days,
the 18th, I believe. One of these articles we've got open right now has that demo.
The demo is 17th.
17th. Oh, sooner than I was guessing. All right, so
just 4 days from now.
Demo's going up on the 17th. I'll try out that demo. Apparently, also you play that demo and you get something in game. Oh, I think it's this police cop skin version of this Magitech armor.
Yeah.
That's a thing I kind of want. So
because you like Magitech.
Yeah, and I think that this police skin looks kind of funny. So, I might play that demo for you guys. That could be coming up very, very soon. We have to keep moving.
Yes, and let's go ahead and get to our last story of the evening. As we said at the top of the show, just dropped this morning the final trailer for Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and this thing looks amazing. And the thing about it is, looking online all day, seeing the reactions, everybody seems to be having a similar reaction to it, like, I thought this movie was just going to be so good, and then this came out and just put it over the top.
It's pretty much what I was asking for, and the last time we talked about Rogue One, it was what I was hoping it was going to be in that. We always knew it's called Star Wars, so where is the rest of the war that's going on? It's this!
This is the war.
It's a war movie, but we know it doesn't take place here on Earth because we would know what war here looks like. This looks like a different kind of war that we're not really used to. It's this! I've been waiting for this!
Yes, this is the Star Wars with teeth on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the legit grittiness of war. This is imperial occupation. This is people who have been imprisoned, most likely wrongly. These are people who are down on their luck, really hoping, man, I wish we could change things. These are people who are very scared. This doom weapon will destroy us all. What are we ever going to do about it? And then you have this small band of people deciding, we can do something about it. I don't know what, but we're going to try.
Yeah.
And it looks so much more character-driven than I want to say The Force Awakens was, because at least I'll give that. Force Awakens was entertaining, but it was
Everyone knows it wasn't new.
Everybody knows it wasn't new. Here, it's new while setting something I already know. I already know what the outcome's going to be. I know the rebels are going to get the plans to the Death Star, but they are keeping me captivated with the way this looks, the way this sounds, this idea of what it took to make that happen, what it took for that opening shot in A New Hope to happen where the freighter is getting away from the Star Destroyer, what it took to get there, the way they're showing me this is how they got there, looks so incredibly enthralling.
Yeah, so now this trailer also gives us an understanding of, okay, here's why we care about what's her main character's name?
Jyn Erso.
Jyn, here's why we care, because she's got a personal, familial relation somewhere working on the Death Star.
Right, her father apparently is the guy who figured out how to get the Death Star beam weapon working.
So now we have a reason why we care about
Now,
her.
admittedly, we knew this, but you can tell me that they're related and that that's the case, but it's all in how you show me.
Yeah.
And here, what they're showing me is something that's very deep and personal, where she's just like, oh, he's my father, I don't care about him. No, what we got was if he's involved, we need to go find him.
Yeah.
Like, I care what happens. I care what happens to the people fighting the rebellion. I care what happens to my father. And, you know, you've got this ragtag group of people here. They actually bother saying the title of the movie.
They said it!
They said it. Oh, we need a call sign. Rogue One. All right, that's it. That's all you had to give me. Just say it once, I'm good. That's all I need.
And yeah, the spoiler is that, yeah, we know they got the plans to the Death Star. We know that. But we don't know what happens to these people.
My guess, they're all dead. That's my instant guess, is that part of the reason, and they'll probably write it off as such because we never heard of them. It's kind of the thing with the Bothans. We don't know the names of the Bothans that died eventually later on in the story. We just know that they died.
That's the funniest thing. I keep hearing people saying, I haven't seen any of the Bothans yet. And my reaction is just, you know that's because they got the plans for the second Death Star, right? Not the first
that's why I said later on in the story.
There's a lot of people very confused about that for some reason, actually.
Remember your Death Stars.
Remember your Death Stars.
But here, it's, like you see Mon Mothma asking, we need this help, otherwise we are beyond screwed. Like, I was texting with my brother about this morning, like, dude, did you see this? And he just texted back to me, dude. I'm like, I am so there, I'm gone. I'm so there on this new planet Jehu. I'm there. I'm not even here right now. I'm in the theater right now. In December. We're still waiting to see when those...
I can't even hardly believe it's actually that like, it's so close and so far away.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're about 2 months out.
Now, they say this is the last trailer. Part of me doesn't believe them. Part of me thinks they'll tease some more commercials.
Here's the thing about it. This did it. This did it for me. I don't need any more convincing beyond this. I think I will actually do what some people I know do with movies nowadays. I'm going to stop watching. If new trailers come out, if new commercials come out, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised with what they've given me. Like, I've hit critical mass. I don't need any more pushing. You've got my money.
That's so funny because typically you'll go to Wiki and you'll read the entire plot.
Not this.
I don't believe you.
No, not for this.
I don't believe you.
I've done it with some movies. You've seen I have shown restraint in certain cases.
No, you're lying.
In certain cases. Certain cases.
You're still a liar.
I'm not a liar.
And in any case, this blew the internet up entirely this morning, and for good reason. I think the world needed some good things very badly today, and this was one of the good things, and it's one of the few things left in my soul that I feel like I can be excited about, because I don't get excited about much these days anymore, but I'm excited about this, and I'm so happy. I don't know that we'll dress up for this event.
No.
That's a thing you do for mainline series, and then people in the 501st will come dressed up no matter what.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, if I had that kind of scratch, I mean, I could, but not really. Those new shore troopers that we showed the pictures of.
Those are so cool.
Those look badass. Yeah. I really like those. And admittedly, now you can go ahead and get those Nerf blasters, but they're really expensive for what they can do.
But it's also because they have lights and sound.
Admittedly, yes.
So they double as just pew-pew laser and actually shoot darts.
Darty lasers and shooty lasers.
Darty laser pew-pew.
Darty laser pew-pew.
Is what we're getting at right now.
Rogue One, Darty laser pew-pew.
So, there you go. New trailer, a thing to be happy about. I'm glad that this is where we're ending the episode today.
As soon as we know when those tickets are going on sale, we will absolutely tell you guys, because we all want to be there opening night, because there's nothing...
They're gonna sell out.
There's nothing like opening night Star Wars. There isn't. Maybe large Marvel movies, but really this is where it's at.
This is where it's at.
This is where it started.
All right. I think let's wrap it up.
All right.
All right, I guess that'll do it. So we can continue to talk about any of these topics here in our post-show Q&A. So if you're here with us right now, thank you so much. Stick around. We'll talk to you for another half an hour. If you're not here with us live, I really wish you would be. Come on down here on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central, and that's here at youtube.com/MarsGirl/live, and you can talk to all these people right here who've been so good to us and so good to each other, and they love talking amongst themselves, and it's a good time.
Yes. And during the week, you can always talk to us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rooms. We will see you guys again next week.
Thank you!